we're going to start out doing the chicken with tomatoes, olives, and mushrooms. I cut up all the chicken, let's guess here, earlier because since we had so much, I didn't want to have to stop and clean the board. And you have to be real careful when you're using chicken, raw chicken, that you're not contaminating everything. We certainly wouldn't want to use the board and then cut fresh vegetables on it without cleaning it in between. Okay, so what I've done on the chicken is I've already put the Greek seasoning on, and I have all the ingredients right here. We've got our sliced mushrooms, our Greek seasoning, aisle 8. We've got our tomatoes, tomato paste, garlic, a little oil, and I've had this seasoning or in seasoning all day or all afternoon. We'll get our mushrooms started. All right, I've misplaced my butter. Or do we use oil? All right, there's our tablespoon of butter. We'll let that melt a little bit. Our pasta. I like to keep it agitated. Okay, so I've got the Greek seasoning, and I just cut, you can use whatever, this is boneless chicken breast that I got just out of the package down here. I happened to pick up the Value Time this time, and I cut it into chunks. Now you can leave it whole breast if you want. I just felt that for our purposes we'd probably want to have smaller pieces rather than the big chicken breast. So we've got our butter melting here. We're going to put our mushrooms in, and I just got the sliced mushrooms because we don't have time to slice them. And if somebody else is going to do it, why not just go with that? We'll let those cook a little bit while we get our other stuff together. We want to drain our sliced olives. And here's our tomatoes. And I like to use the whole, I don't know, let's see, the whole tomatoes. And these are real juicy. We need to save the juice to go back in. So we'll just drain them a little bit. And then all you do is just chop them up to whatever size piece, it doesn't matter. Let's keep them all in this bowl. You can buy the already crushed tomatoes or the already diced, but it doesn't have, to me, it doesn't have the same kind of juice that's in there. We really want to have the juice rather than sort of a tomatoey sauce. We want to cook these mushrooms down. When you cook mushrooms, you know, they release their liquid and it gets kind of all liquidy. We're going to cook them until they get all liquidy and then all the liquid gets evaporated. You can see our mushrooms kind of getting more liquidy. Get this all back in the bowl. So we've got our tomatoes ready. Get rid of this can. We've got our mushrooms going on. I have an electric stove. I have it always on high just to keep it going. Now some things you have to turn down because when electric, you know, when you're cooking on electric, it heats up and stops and heats up and stops. So if I was doing this on a gas stove, which I have at home, I would start it out on high till it starts to really sizzle and then turn it down to like a medium high. As long as you're here watching it, you know. Okay, so you can see that we've got almost all the liquid out of here. These weren't very liquidy. So we're going to add our garlic to this. Our 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. And again, they came from the jar, minced garlic in the produce section. And one thing, when you put the garlic in, you don't want it to burn, otherwise that'll make it real bitter. So you just kind of want to toast it a little bit, get that real good flavor. Okay. we'll put that, I have a bowl here. I'm going to put this aside here. Now we start the next phase of this, which is the chicken. We're going to put our olive oil in. And our chicken that's been seasoned with the Greek seasoning. That sounds good. Okay. Okay. Ooh, that smells good. And when I cut the chicken also earlier because it was just a little bit frozen, and it's always easier if you're cutting up chicken to cut it frozen, not right out of the freezer, but when it starts to get ice crystals, sort of, looks like it's melting a little bit, then cut it and it won't slip. It's a lot easier to cut into chunks. Now, like I said, for the cooking class purpose, I cut these into chunks. Well, you could use the whole chicken breast. Do the same thing. You're going to put the seasoning on both sides. Start it with the presentation side, or the smooth, nice breast size down first, and that'll brown it really nice, and then flip it over, and it doesn't matter what the other side looks like. The presentation side will be nice. So you could do rice or you could do pasta if you wanted. I don't know that I would do potatoes, but if you did a roasted potato, this is with the Greek seasoning. Sort of a Greek style thing. Maybe you don't even want to have potatoes. Maybe just do a Greek salad with it, some feta, tomatoes, and onions cut up. Now you don't have to, even when if you were doing the whole breast, with this particular recipe, you wouldn't have to be they wouldn't have to be absolutely done, because you're not going to eat them at this point. It goes in the oven. Set that aside. Okay, now I think we put all of our tomatoes back in, don't we? Yeah. We're going to add our chicken broth. And our chicken broth, to glaze the pan, you can see there's like all this little brown, neat stuff stuck on there. We're going to pour this in and get all that brown stuff up, because that's the good stuff. And that's going to be part of the sauce. So you can see as it's coming up, part of the chicken broth. All right. That's called deglazing the pan. We're going to put our tomatoes back in. Or not back in for the first time. We're going to put our mushrooms back in. And to keep it, thicken it up a little bit, we'll put in a little tomato paste. Okay. I'll let that just cook down, let it thicken a little bit. And we're going to put our black olives, just a can of sliced black olives. All right. We're going to let that cook down just a little bit. This looks pretty good. We will go ahead and pour this over our chicken and olives. Get that in the oven. This goes in the oven for about 30 minutes. There's our chicken and olive and mushroom.